Okay, so today we're only going to cover the first four Harry Potter titles, only because otherwise this will go on for far too long. So we are covering Philosopher's Stone, Chamber of Secrets, Prisoner of Azkaban, and Goblet of Fire. We'll come back later time to do the later films.
Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert! It does take too long. Hello and welcome to the Average Initiative, the average podcast by average guys that know an average amount about an average amount, and we're going to talk about it anyway. My name is Lewis.
And my name is George. Hello.
Hello, George. How's it going?
It's going good. I just got my podcast book out because I forgot to write notes down. So I'm going to quickly do that as we go.
See,
so I can learn for next time, provide a better experience for everyone.
I actually didn't write any notes. Well, okay, I didn't physically write any with my hands, which is the first, I think, ever that I haven't written notes for.
So yeah, normally I just riff off the cuff because,
yeah, I just
diamonds are made under pressure. So Oh,
I always think like about when I was at uni and stuff. You know, people say like, "Oh, I work better under pressure," but I always used to say, "I don't work better under pressure. I only work under pressure."
Yeah, I don't know what worse is like.
I mean, like if the deadline wasn't coming up, or if I wasn't like worried, then I just wouldn't do anything.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a problem I need to undo. I need to not have that habit. Yeah, so,
I'm awful when I'm not under pressure. Like the pressure is what makes me actually work. Otherwise, I'm like,
yeah, it's the crippling fear of failure that pushes me forward, not the prospect of succeeding.
Yeah, and it's almost that sense of like I want to be able to say, yeah, I did all this in 2 days. Like I had a whole month to do it.
Because that sounds better than it took me 2 months.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe that's just a side effect of being me. And a little bit. That is some strong wind. Can you hear that?
I can't, but I can hear it. Well, I can hear it out my own window, so I'm hoping it's not coming up on the recording.
I'm just going to double check my mic. 1 sec.
Okay.
Okay, just sounds like microphone noise. We should be fine.
Okay, cool. Well, if it's too bad, I'll just use the Zoom recording, whatever.
Ooh.
Auto cuts out the sound in it. So. Okay, so moving on from the beginning bit that we do, what are we talking about today?
Oh, I'm glad you asked. Well, today we are finally tackling the Harry Potter series. It's been a long time coming. It was kind of on our early list of episode titles, and it's only taken us to episode, what is it, 17?
Yeah, maybe 15, 16, 17. It's one of the teens.
One of them.
I was for sure you were going to say something else then, just to mess with people. I thought you were going to be like, it's the Lord of the Rings episode, or it's the Muppets Christmas Carol episode.
Oh no, but we will be doing a Muppets Christmas Carol because that is the best Christmas film.
I haven't seen it.
Get out of town. Pack up your bags and leave. What do you mean you've never seen the Muppets Christmas Carol?
I haven't.
Sorry.
I don't think I've ever seen any Muppets films, to be honest. I mean, I've seen the Disney Christmas Carol, both of them, the one with Scrooge McDuck and the one with Jim Carrey.
Do you know the Scrooge McDuck one is like half an hour long?
Is it?
Yeah, I thought it was like really long. It's not. It's like literally like 30 to 40 minutes. But also, fun fact about that is that's the first time like the Mickey Mouse characters, let's say, were used since Walt Disney's death in 1962.
Really?
So it took him like a good, I think, almost 20 years till they used them again.
Maybe he had some kind of like death clause where he's like, you can't touch my characters until 20 years after I'm gone and dead and my head's in ice underneath the castle.
Yeah, and I was going to say a very, very tasteless joke then, but I won't. But yeah, no, apparently none of them were used between his death and the Christmas Carol. Was like the big
their return to the silver screen.
Yeah, which is like
it's pretty mad.
Weird that they waited till then, and also 20. Imagine nowadays like Disney waiting 20 years before using any of their like big characters.
But then you say that, but then when was the last time they came out with a big film with Mickey Mouse in?
He had like a TV shorts, didn't he?
I suppose he had the Mickey Mouse Clubhouse. Does that count?
Yeah, and then there was like that new style one where they all look really dirty and janky.
Not sure I've seen that one.
Well, I suppose. Oh no, they do. Stuck Tales, isn't it? I was gonna say they're using Donald Duck at the minute. Wow, that was spot on. It's like he's in the room.
He is. I can't get him to leave.
He won't fly out the window.
Anyway,
I didn't realize how much I liked Donald Duck until like adult years. I have a Donald Duck suitcase and a plush of him on my bed.
And you dressed as him for your 21st.
I did.
Yeah,
I'm a big fan
a good
of the
costume.
duck.
I like that.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. Maybe we'll put that picture online at some point.
Maybe. So yeah, Harry Potter, because that was related to what we were talking about.
Harry Potter is neither Disney nor animated, nor features any ducks, as far as I know.
No, I can't even remember if there's any in the books. Probably in like the Privet Drive bits at the start where it's like Harry went to feed the ducks.
Or yeah, there must have been some at that zoo, maybe. Oh no, wait, they're more on a farm, aren't they? Not really zoo animals. Yeah.
There's plenty of snakes though, which is a big problem for me. As someone who doesn't like snakes.
Do you not like snakes?
I have.
When have you ever met a snake? That's so prejudiced.
In a zoo.
Yeah.
And at school, there's plenty of snakes.
Oh, is that? Are you throwing shade right now? Is that shade?
I don't know when it started. What I don't like, and this is like, I can't even get through the sentence without like recoiling.
Coiling. Snakes coil.
Yeah, it's like saying, it genuinely makes me like gag almost. What? Is when they're like pressed against the glass, like the middle bit of them.
What? So like the scales?
Yeah,
against the glass. Well, you don't like that?
They were just like slimy and horrible, and no, I hate them.
I like them.
Can't stand them.
I'd be friends with a snake.
Nah, my shivers down my spine.
My friend Dean has a snake, and it's a corn snake, and it's called Kellogg's. Kellogg's corn snake.
Kellogg's corn snake.
I think that's what it's called. I might be wrong.
Side note, did I tell you about my cousins who had to bury a snake? Similar.
Why did they have to bury a snake?
So one of them does like, I'm sure this is a true story. Maybe they made it up. I don't know if they listen to this. I don't know if I can tell this actually. Anyway, basically,
you're right. Yeah. Okay.
I don't know. There's a very I really can't tell you. There's a bit in it that like could get him in a lot of trouble.
He killed a snake.
No, he didn't. He just ended up wearing something. No, he didn't wear the snake, but I think he wore something he wasn't supposed to wear.
I'm not sure.
Moving on.
Okay, we'll move on. Okay,
Harry Potter, originally a book series, then a film series.
If you don't know,
if you haven't heard of it, but
it's about
surprised
a young boy, and he finds out he's different from other boys,
and he goes through some different changes when he reaches adulthood.
Starts. No, I was going to say something about hairy man.
A big hairy man comes in the night.
A big hairy man shows up at the door
to take him away to another big hairy man who runs a school full of other little children, who all share a room together.
And he ends up having some conflicts with a hairless man.
He does. He ends up starting a war.
He does, doesn't he?
It's a bit weird. Like, you think the dynamic between him and Ron is like basically like, Ron, your brothers are going to die fighting in my war. I was like, yeah, okay, cool, fine. I know it's a bit more nuanced. There's even a line where they're like, you think he's dying for you? Like, no.
Yeah, it's not for him. He just happens to be involved.
Yeah.
It's like if you were in real life and there was, Hitler and it was World War II and Hitler really wanted to kill this one specific guy. Like, he's still doing a lot of bad shit anyway. Like, people probably want to stop him regardless of that little boy.
It'd be like Churchill going, I don't want you to die for me. It's like, I'm not dying for you. I'm dying
Churchill.
for the bigger thing. Yeah.
Go sell your insurance.
Yeah,
you sack of shit.
I don't know what I'm talking.
Anyway, so the series starts.
So derailed.
Yeah, I know, this is all over the shop. So the series starts obviously with the Philosopher's Stone, or for our American listeners, if there is any. I see you in Minnesota. Yeah. It was what was it called? The Sorcerer's Stone. Yeah. Not sure why they changed it. I'm pretty sure Americans can figure out what a philosopher is.
Thing is, everyone says this. I think it's more for American children, probably. Like,
yeah, but like,
I think it was easy to sell them over there. Harry Potter and a Sorcerer's Stone.
Like, do you reckon maybe to sell more
about magic?
Do you reckon maybe to sell more because like a sorcerer sounds more exciting than a philosopher?
Yeah, I genuinely think because everyone's like, oh, Americans don't know what a philosopher. It's like, yeah, but the first book wasn't written for adults. Like, an adult can read it, but it was definitely marketed and sold as a kid's book.
I suppose that makes sense.
And having a philosopher over here, I mean, that's just what it was called, the Philosopher's Stone. But I think it was a lot easier to sell it here than over in America.
I think, sorcerer sounds more flashy, doesn't it? Like,
Yeah.
You
Plus,
think,
they
sorcerer.
did.
Like, wow.
Yeah, they didn't know at the time they were going to get a full 7 book series out of
That's
this.
true. I'm pretty sure. I think I read online that when the Chamber of Secrets came out, that was within the same, like within a year of, like the film wise, that was within a year of the book coming out, which means that for a long time there was just the first book. Is that right?
Mm. I think so. They do say all this at the Warner Brothers tour, but it's been so long since
I've
I
also
can't
been to that,
remember.
but I can't even remember.
No, I went to school as like a helping assistant.
Mm.
Have you read the
Nice.
books?
I have, yeah, but I read it in year 4, so I was 8, and then I finished them by year 6. So I read them from the ages 8 to 11, so it's been a while.
Okay, well, I just finished Chamber of Secrets like yesterday, so
Oh, you've
I
been
just
doing
have a constant
research.
loop. I just have a constant loop of listening to the audiobooks.
I should really get into listening to
So
audiobooks.
I'm very scrubbed up on my Harry Potter knowledge. So
Okay,
I'm
okay.
happy to.
Well, did you know that the film made 978 million at the box office?
The first one,
Yeah,
978 million.
yeah. Wait, let me just enlarge this picture I've got, see if I'm reading that right. Yep, 978,755,371 dollars.
The Philosopher's Stone made
Yeah,
900.
it's a big
That's
hit.
insane.
That's why it was. That's clearly
Million
why it
billion.
spawned a whole series. It's like, when they come up with that Percy Jackson or all that shit, like they didn't do too well, which is why you didn't get like long-standing series and stuff.
Yeah,
2001 was a good year
that's
for
wild.
for fantasy films, obviously, because Lord of the Rings came out that year and also made 900 million. Crazy.
That's ridiculous. Hang on.
Mm.
Philosopher's Stone. Worldwide. Yeah, worldwide. 978. Holy hell.
It's insane, isn't it?
And yet the weakest of them, Prisoner of Azkaban, I would argue is the best film.
Yeah, and it made the least money.
I mean, 796 million. That's not exactly like
Yeah.
least money. Does this have a budget here? Budget 130 million.
Mm.
So yeah, they've all made a massive profit.
Well, yeah, clearly. But
the first one had a budget of 125 million. That's a lot of money, even by today's standards.
Yeah, but think about it. It had like John Williams involved. It was Chris Columbus, the guy who did like Home Alone and all that sort of stuff. Like,
yeah, but for a book adaptation in 2001, that just seems really like risky.
Well, I mean, again, bringing up Lord of the Rings, they did 3 films right off the bat in one go. Like, that's a big risk. I guess sometimes when you got the right people involved, they probably think like calculated risk in it.
Was that I was going to say Percy Jackson? Was that Peter Jackson's directorial debut?
No, I think he did some others, but they were like kind of floppy, not really big successes.
Then Chris Columbus, I guess he did.
He did Home Alone. He did. He's done loads of things, although they're escaping my mind right now. He discovered America, I think. Is that right?
I think so. Yeah. Oh, I see what you're doing. Sorry, I thought there was a film called Discovering America. I thought.
No,
I see what you're doing.
You got me wrong. No, mate.
Wow. So it beat the Phantom Menace's opening weekend record.
Did it?
It made 32.3 million on its opening day, breaking the single day record previously held by Phantom Menace.
It's insane. I've got some. Should we discuss the movie a bit, and then I've got some trivia I can just rattle off.
Yeah.
So, what do you think about this film?
I think this is the most this is probably the most book accurate, but only because the book is
short. It's a short one.
Short, and when I do, like I say, but genuinely, I do I'll get to the end of Deathly Hallows and then start again. But I do always skip this book, or like every other time I usually skip it, because for me, it just feels like a series of short stories within one bigger story, rather than what even though it is one narrative and that is the one story, but it's you've got like the Quidditch match, and that's its own kind of mini story within the year. The troll in the dungeon, or the troll
in the dungeon.
The Mirror of Eris, which again, I know all of these things lead to the end, and they are. They're less like mysteries and clues. It's all just like mini bump.
Do you think that's the same with the film, or do you think the film's more? It's the narrative towards the end, because obviously they got to introduce everything because it's the first story, isn't it?
Yeah, I think. I mean, it will suffer from that from being an adaptation, but yeah, I do think it does just seem like I know this is all the film is, but it does just seem like a series of events that play out and then the result.
Yeah, I guess so. I do think this one in particular is probably the most magical out of every one of the films.
I was going to say it is the most like, especially with the score, like that moment where they first see the castle, and it's like, oh
yeah, it's
wow,
that
and
John
like
Williams score, isn't it? Like, because I think he only did the first two, I
with the
think.
first,
And then obviously he's credited for all of them because of that main theme.
that made it, yeah.
But yeah,
Which is what?
I
Could you
think.
imagine if another director came and was like, "On change the theme"? They were like, "Absolutely not."
Well, I
Like,
mean,
no.
they barely use it in some of the films, don't they? It's like usually it's just sort of underlying there occasionally. I think they end up using it for Hedwig in like the later films.
Yeah, it became his Hedwig scene, didn't it?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think because this Chris Columbus, I don't know how you say his name, but he's really good at making stuff feel quite like heartwarming, and I think this film, more than all of them, is very warm and
This
happy,
does
I
feel
guess.
like an honorary Christmas film. Like I always consider it a Christmas film.
Well, I suppose there is a Christmas scene.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's a because funny enough, we were playing a game last night, and we had to name Christmas films or films set at Christmas, and I said Harry Potter, and they all went, "Is it just because Christmas takes place?" And I was like, "They're there for a year, so technically, yes, Christmas does take place." Well,
yeah, I mean, there's a bit where they get presents.
That's what I mean. But even everything else, it just feels Christmassy,
it's
and I
warm
can't figure out why.
I think maybe it's because Chris Columbus has done Christmas films, and so he just can't seem to get that out of his system.
Maybe it just bleeds through, but it is like I don't know, just hits that nice little festive spot.
It's also just like, as I said, like heartwarming. I don't know what it is.
Wholesome,
yeah. It's because like even like the dynamics between Harry and Ron and Harry and Hagrid and even Harry and Dumbledore, I guess it's so much more friendly and just nice in this film, and it gets less and less as it goes on.
Yeah, I think. I mean, the thing is, this film came out when we were 4.
Yeah,
you and
I. Yeah.
20 years ago. Yeah. So I do think like some of the nuance is lost on us because we kind of grew up with it. But like, there's very key moments, like the bit where where Harry goes and finds the mirror, and then he goes back.
Yeah.
And Dumbledore comes in, and it's like I always forget that's the first time Harry and Dumbledore ever meet.
Yeah.
Because you go through the film thinking, yeah, they know each other, but you think Harry never met Dumbledore until this moment where they're both up in the middle of the night in a random room.
It's not like he rocks up at school and he's like, "Oh, you're right, Dumbledore," and he's like, "Hello, Harry." Like they don't speak, do they?
No, and I think that's what this film does. What the series does, is, I mean, world building second to none. I think, like the expanded like lore and stories. You can pick any character and you can think about any kind of background and story they've had. I know there's certain things with the author where she kind of maybe makes things up on the spot.
Yeah, I think
and she's also very transphobic. Let's not deny that. But yeah, I do. And then you get these key character moments and introductions where they do, like you say, they feel they're just as impactful. Like the first meeting with Hagrid, where he bursts down the door on the island.
Oh yeah.
And it's like that. Even the music that dun, 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 sorry about that, and the music just drops. And it is that's what I mean. But like that, that music perfectly encapsulates your opinion of Hagrid. This, he's bashing the door, bangs it down. This hulking mass of a man comes in. Oh, I'm sorry, I broke your door.
He's just delightful.
Hello, and he's like, and he is. And like Hagrid is one of my favorite characters, just because he is like
100%.
Yeah, same reason I like Terry Jeffords from Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Like they're these hulking, great, strong people, and yet 9 times out of 10 when they talk about Hagrid, he's wearing an apron or he's attending to his garden and things like that. And he's like, and he loves.
He's crying over a dragon.
Yeah, and he's really like soft, but then he's an angel. Strength. Yeah, like, and then when he does, but then that makes it all the more poignant when he does get angry and use this strength and fight back. Yeah. He is that more like, wow, okay, oof.
Yeah, it's sad. I know this is jumping forward a hell of a lot, but it's sad you don't really get to see him like in a final battle at Hogwarts. Like you don't get to see him go ham, really, do you?
Not point. In the film. In the book, he does. He throws. So McNair, who was supposed to be the one who executes Buckbeak in the third film, he does get his own back on that. And there's a bit where it's like Hagrid threw him into a wall, and it's like, Jesus, like
he straight up murders a guy.
Yeah, everyone else is like, they disarmed so and so, and he was bound in ropes, and it's like, and Hagrid like straight up killed the guy,
bashed the guy to a wall until he died.
Yeah, like
with his big dustbin lid hands. It's one of the only things I remember from the book is that he's got hands like dustbin lids. I'm like, really? Yeah. That's the thing you compare his hands to.
See, that's the thing with the book is like I always struggle thinking of scale of how big Hagrid's supposed to be because they always describe him as large as two men with dustbin lid sized hands. Now dustbin lids
are bigger than two times the size
or
of
at
your
least
hand.
a foot maybe. Like that's being general. That's very liberal.
Yeah, you could
Like a
probably
foot
fit
maybe
about 5 men's hands, into a
around a
dustbin lid.
duffel. Yeah. So if you think how big his hands are,
Is he
how
just
big
running
is the
around?
rest of him?
Or if maybe he's just 2 men tall, but he's running around with like absolutely giant hands.
Like Mickey Mouse, like
Yeah.
just massive, like woof.
And that's how he can bash people into the wall. He's just got massive hands.
Yeah, but then like even that character, then later on down the line, you get to find out about like his mum's like his genealogy, which I mean, woof. His mum's a giant and his dad's a
Yeah,
human.
and you see how big the giants are in later films, and there's no way a man is shagging one of those things.
Yeah, like
it would just not
woof.
happen. You would have to climb inside, and
Maybe he did.
I'm
No, I don't. I
gonna
just
leave
really
that
want to
thought
talk about.
there. Yeah, let's not.
Yeah, have fun with that tonight. But yeah, and I do think this film especially does set up these characters well and
yeah,
doesn't fall flat on expanding them down the line.
But it also sort of ends in a way that if it was the only film, it wraps up nicely.
Yeah,
like he Voldemort, he could come back, whatever, blah blah blah. But it does wrap up in a way that it could be one and done. So that's probably they probably did that because just in case it flops and they don't get to do another one.
Yeah, and it's I mean, even in the book, it's like his spirit. Like Harry just mentions he's a spirit and he drops down or something like that. I can't remember now. Or is it no? Hang on, no. He's getting. I cannot remember. I think he's getting strangled by Quirrell and he passes out as he's like burning Quirrell's face.
Yeah,
and then you hear someone calling his name, and obviously it's Dumbledore. It turns out, and Dumbledore's just like, "Oh, I ran down there and pulled Quirrell off you," and as I did, he just faded to dust or something like that.
Wait, he said what in the book? Dumbledore pulls him off him.
Yeah, in the book. So what happens is, Harry leaves Hermione in what would be the potions room. It doesn't happen in the film.
Yeah.
So after the chess, Harry and Hermione go on, and Harry sends her back and says, "Get Ron and get yourselves out and go look. Get a letter to Dumbledore. I'm going to go on." As Ron and Hermione are making their way in the castle, Dumbledore comes up and he's like, "Harry's already gone after him, hasn't he?" And they're like, "Yeah," and Dumbledore just takes off. And it's probably one of the most badass things if you think about Dumbledore doing that. Like,
what, just him running in general?
Well, yeah, but he got sent to the Ministry as a ruse to keep him out of the way by Quirrell, so he had a Dumbledore-free night to attack. And the fact Dumbledore lands is like, "Harry's down there, isn't he?" He's like, "Yeah." He's like, "Cool. I knew he would be. Leave it with me." Yeah. And it's like, "Okay, great." Like,
I can't remember. That's why maybe I should read them again.
Send you the files. Yeah, I'll lend you the tapes.
Oh yes, thank you. Could you? Maybe you should just read it to me yourself.
Yeah,
you stay up late.
I'll do my own,
and then you read to me while I go to sleep.
Yeah, okay. I just come over every night.
Okay. So talking about that end bit of the film, like the climax, he burns. This is the film adaptation, obviously. When so Harry touches Quirrell's face and he burns and all that. Why is it when Quirrell grabs him by the neck, why does his hand not start burning then?
I don't know. I suppose if you want to read into it, it's Lily's protection that does it. It's not the stone.
Yeah,
so it's only after Harry is like, "I need to protect myself."
I mean, if you're getting strangled, are you not thinking, "Damn, I probably should protect myself right now"?
Yeah, but I suppose he wasn't fighting back then, was he?
Well, I mean, he's being strangled. I just thought it was strange, because I rewatched it with a couple of mates recently. We were just like, "Oh, why is he not?
Yeah,
why is he not getting burnt?" I mean, that whole thing is a bit. The whole like the end bit with Quirrell is a bit, it's a bit strange. There's not really any rules on like, I don't know. It's just a bit strange.
Yeah,
I do notice that.
I think in the book it's not so he doesn't turn to dust. I think it just burns him and he just like singes him, which is why he's like he doesn't crumble, so he's still whole.
Yeah, because I did wonder, like, Quirrell is an actual person, isn't he? So why does he turn to dust?
Yeah, and then I think it's when Voldemort leaves his body, Quirrell dies.
Yeah, and he flies off as a spirit.
I really can't remember. Like I said, I don't really read the first one that much.
Yeah, I suppose.
And then goes and lives in the forests of Albania.
Who does, Voldemort?
Yeah, that's where Pettigrew finds him.
I never knew that.
Yeah, and then because he flies off over to Albania because he lives there because he can possess small creatures like frogs and lizards and stuff.
I definitely have to read these books again because I did not know that.
Yeah, I saw a TikTok earlier today that explains it all. But yeah, he's living out there,
Yeah.
and then that's when Pettigrew goes looking for him after the events of Prisoner of Azkaban, finds
Oh.
Bertha Jorkins, and tortures her to get information about the World Cup, and then that's when Voldemort's like, right, we're going to put our plan into action. Boom, and then
so he's like a little man, isn't he? At that point.
Yeah, I mean, there was again this TikTok I saw earlier. Apparently, there was a theory that that body was supposed to be like the remain that he's using is the remains of Bertha Jorkins, which is why it's all weird because it's like he can't possess a real human, but it's like her dead body.
Mm-hmm.
Or if you want to get really weird, it may be another body that she had. If you catch my drift, which I don't want to say because it's kind of gross.
Like a fetus.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'll let you say it. Yeah.
I'll say it. I got the balls.
Yeah. So I think
I'll say his name.
Voldemort. I think, yeah, and I mean, but I get this supposed rumor is off of TikTok, so I have no sources for it.
You can't trust TikTok, mate. You can't trust it. It's not to be trusted.
No, I've seen a lot of handy DIY hacks to do with string and bottle caps. So,
is it? I bet you also think you can fix stuff with chicken noodles, don't you?
I mean, yeah, that's what I've been told. So
yeah, I think overall this film, it's pretty good. It's the most magical out of all the films, and I always enjoy watching it. But I don't think personally it's the best film out of the lot. But I think it is the most magical.
Yeah, I think it's the weakest film, but it is the most special. But again, being the worst film is just the nature of it being the first film.
Yeah, worst is first, second is best, third's the one with the hairy chest because of the werewolves.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. And Hagrid.
Oh yeah, he's also in these. I got a little bit of trivia here, just before spice it up a little bit. The first person to be cast in this film was Robbie Coltrane as Hagrid.
Yeah, because she knew from day one. She was like, "I want Robbie Coltrane to be Hagrid." Didn't she? Because she also pushed forward for an all British cast.
British Isles, yeah.
Except for Vern Troyer.
Yeah, I was just going to say that. He's the Goblin, isn't he?
Yeah.
Which is the thing, because he doesn't come back to play him in the seventh last one. Seventh one, yeah. It's Warwick Davis, but he's voiced by Warwick Davis in this film as well.
Yeah.
I think I read. Which is like, why not just let Vern Troyer do it? They don't sound too dissimilar. Maybe it's because of his American accent.
Maybe. But then I guess also then they don't have to credit him, do they? Because it's Warwick Davis's voice. And he didn't technically speak, so therefore they haven't got to credit him.
Wait, you don't have to credit someone if they don't speak?
Yeah, that's why like a load of extras just hardly ever speaking in like TV programs and stuff.
Well, even if you actually do a physical acting part in a film, but you just don't say any lines, you don't have to get credited.
Yeah. And then it's also you don't have to get paid as much. Like if you say a line, you have to get paid extra and probably credited. And
what about if he did the lines and then they decided to overdub it later?
Then yeah, he doesn't get paid.
That's insane. So you get put in all that makeup, and you're made to do a scene, and then they're like, "Well, you didn't speak, so we're not crediting you."
Yeah, I know it's more on TV. That's why like, TV extras are like just stand there and don't say anything.
Yeah,
like because if you speak, then we have to pay you. And we have to like credit you in like
that's crazy. Like, that doesn't make any sense.
Unions and sign papers. Whereas if you're just an extra in the background, you're just there doing nothing. You're just there for the day.
And they better have paid him.
Well, probably. I mean, Vern Troyer probably has a pretty good agent.
I would imagine so. Yeah. I got another fact that is I thought we would enjoy as we went to Canterbury for university.
Oh yeah.
Sorry, I'm reading as I'm trying to talk at the same time. The filmmakers originally wanted to use Canterbury Cathedral as a filming location for the Hogwarts scenes, but the Dean of Canterbury refused to allow it, saying that it was unfitting for a Christian church to be used to promote pagan imagery.
What a bunch of wet napkins.
I know. I mean, they're not bloody pagans, they're wizards.
Exactly. So now they've gone to Greenwich University instead.
I think they wanted to use, there was another cathedral as well, and the guy was like, yeah, sure, but then I think there was like outcry from like the local people, and he was like, okay, fine, I won't do it.
Yeah, that'd have been cool though.
It would have been. Imagine, like, I would have actually probably gone to the cathedral if that was the case.
Did you never go?
No,
Oh, me.
I went for a school trip when I was like 10, but not when I was at university though.
Oh, me and Sonny went to blow off a lecture once. We were like, we can't bother to work anymore. Should we go to the cathedral and have a look around? And as we went, it was the like local schools like Christmas concert thing.
Oh.
And it was like one of the rehearsal days. We just got stuck in this cathedral for like 20 minutes while all these kids came piling in. We're like, we need to leave.
Did you have to pay to go in, or could you just walk in?
No, it's free. I think because we were students, it's free.
Is that when we went through the? Remember we went through the wall and you had to show your student ID?
Yeah, I think you'd have to pay there to get into the cathedral grounds, and then once you're in there, then you can go
Oh,
for
right.
free.
I did that.
Yeah.
I think I went through that once with you towards the beginning when I started, and then I never once did it for the next 3 years ever again.
Oh, we used to use it all the time. It was like a Harry Potter secret passage. It's like,
I don't know
cut
why I
through
never
in
did it
town
again.
centre. Yeah, it's very handy.
Yeah. Should we move on to Chambray of
Chamber
Secrets?
Yeah. I mean, this is the first one that kind of like expands on the world. Like you learn about like the house origins, like the four founders of Hogwarts.
Yeah.
You learn about Tom Riddle. Very minor things about him. You just
Ron
don't know who he is. Yep. Did you know in the French one? This is probably one of your trivia facts. In the French copy of the book,
yeah,
they had to change his middle name so that he could write out "Je suis Lord Voldemort." You know, at the end he gets the wand and writes out. So
obviously they couldn't have down, but yeah.
Oh, okay. Have you heard this? Right, yeah. So because of that,
yeah,
they had to pick another name rather than Marvolo. So his middle name in the French copy of the books apparently is Elvis. He's Tom Elvis Riddle because they needed the letters in Elvis to make like Je m'appelle or whatever it is. Yeah, Je m'appelle.
That's wildly less intimidating.
Yeah, and like mystical. It's like, oh, Marvolo. Ooh. It's like, hi, I'm Elvis. Like,
I'm Tom Elvis. Oh, Riddle.
Yeah. Which means his granddad in the sixth one was, Elvis Gaunt.
I like that. Isn't it in French? I don't know if it's Voldemort or something means flight of death or something like that. I think I've read that earlier. I haven't got it written down, but I'm pretty sure in French that's what his last name means, which I suppose makes sense considering he tries to escape death as much as he can.
Yeah.
I wonder if that was intentional.
Yeah, because I think you're supposed to pronounce Voldemort like Voldemort.
Voldemort.
To the T.
Hello, Voldemort.
Oh. No one ever does. Let's be honest.
No, they don't. So this film obviously centers around the diary and the basilisk and all that shit. You know, second year.
Yeah.
I think story-wise, I think this is good. I'm trying to think where it sits in my rankings of films.
See, I like this one because this is the first kind of mystery arc. Like, you've got the whole like, what is the Chamber of Secrets? Who's opened it? Who's sending around the monster? And it kind of like sets these things up, and you kind of solve these as you go through.
It's a more simple story, I think, than some of the others. Not in a bad way, but
still
like,
very much
there's a monster,
kids.
and you got to figure out like what's going on and what is this monster sort of thing.
Yeah. Because that's it, like you've introduced the Hogwarts world, so you haven't got to reintroduce it and things like that.
Yeah.
So you can actually have a full-on story in that world.
So
you know what we were saying about like Falcon and the Winter Soldier? We spent so long gearing up and introducing them, and now we can actually have adventures with those characters. It's kind of the same thing here. Now we've got the foundations.
Yeah.
We can start getting into, like you say, actual adventure and more of the world building and the bigger things going on.
Yeah.
Like we learn all about the Ministry of Magic. Like with Ron's dad and Lucius Malfoy's dad, we learn about Hagrid's past. What's his deal? We learn about Hogwarts' past as a whole. We learn about Voldemort's past. And
you don't think Lucius Malfoy is like some of the best casting in like all of these films?
Oh, absolutely.
He's great, isn't he?
Yeah. Right. Jason Isaacs just needs to be in more things.
Oh, for sure. I think I read that apparently it was his idea to have like the long hair and the cane as well. And he really liked the cane, so he just wanted to keep it, but they wouldn't let him.
I know there's an outtake where he goes to like push Harry.
Yeah.
I can't remember his name. Daniel Radcliffe goes to push him out of the way, and he gets caught on him. He goes, "Move, boy!" Oh my goodness, I'm so sorry. I've
seen that.
Does a whole 180.
I'm pretty sure that's in Dumbledore's office, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I think he calls him like darling or something. He's like, "Oh, sweetheart," or something along those lines. What an angel.
It's like that's what I love is characters, like actors who play villains, but they're the nicest people on the planet in real life. We also get introduced to Dobby in this
Oh
film as
yeah,
well.
Dobby as a kid, I think he was kind of creepy.
That was the most scariest moment, was the bit where Harry's in the hospital bed and he can hear
Yeah.
the voices around him. It's like, and it pans down and there's Dobby at the end. Oh, it used to
It's like,
terrify me.
oh, Toby
Yeah,
Jones.
yeah. Oh, it used to
He
scare the
just
absolute
looks like,
pants out of me.
oh, he just looks like pork scratching, not pork scratching, but like crackling. It looks like he's made out of like old leathery. I don't even know.
That is so much better than what I was going to say he looks like.
What were you gonna say?
I was going to say he looks like a foreskin.
Oh, Dobby had to iron his hands. I'm gonna iron my eyes at the thought of that.
Yeah, no.
Does Dobby have a foreskin?
Well, I don't want to think about it.
Okay. Sorry.
But yeah, again, just finished reading this book, and I do like this one because it kind of sets up the conflict of which kind of goes for this Harry versus everyone else.
Yeah.
Because everyone thinks he's the heir and he's the one committing these attacks. It does put him against the wider world, I guess.
Mm.
And it's also the first book where they kind of talk about death. Also, you got the Moaning Myrtle, a student dying, and it's not done in like a really brash way. It's done like that makes sense. And then it's only after you realise, oh my god, this girl was like 16 when she died. Like,
yeah, and she's living in a
perpetually stuck at the age of 16.
Imagine being stuck at any age for eternity. Sounds horrible.
Well, yeah, I guess. But imagine stuck during puberty, like before everything's settled, and you think like, oh, I just want to die all the time, and you can't because you're a ghost.
Yeah, and you live in a bathroom.
It does also have one of the most boring chapters, which is the Death Day party, which I skip every time.
Death Day party? What's that?
So Nearly Headless Nick, the Gryffindor ghost. He has a party to celebrate his death day. It's like a big thing. And it's like he wants Harry there to show that he's got he's friends with the living, and Harry Potter's there because he wants to try and join the headless hunt. But obviously he's not headless.
Yeah.
And it's just like it just does nothing. Like the only use it has is it introduces Moaning Myrtle as a character and gives them a reason to not be at the Halloween feast, which is when Harry first hears the voices and Mrs. Norris is attacked.
Oh, what do they do in the film? Is it when he's at detention?
Yeah, it says he's leaving detention.
With Lockhart.
Yeah. Which I think is
maybe that must be why they changed it for the films.
Yeah, because that does happen. Yeah, because that happens again. But I don't think it actually leads to him discovering anything. Because it's Mrs. Norris. Then it was Colin Creevy, but that was after the cricket match, after the Quidditch match.
Cricket match.
And it's just
imagine wizards playing cricket.
That'd be quite fun actually. And then it's Justin and Nick. That's once everyone starts suspecting him after the dueling club.
Yeah.
Then eventually it's Hermione. That's when everyone goes, right, clearly isn't Harry then, because why would he attack Hermione?
Yeah. It's really effective, like especially the noises of the snakes slithering around, and like how they use the camera, and that they do it. I think they did like handheld shots, like moving around, and the voices scared the shit out of me as a kid, like that kind of thing.
Yeah,
like I remember having to forward wind Parcel Force.
Yeah, that's what it's been, Parcel Force.
Yeah, I thought it was FedEx. Anyway, there was a video where I had to forward wind the trailers at the beginning because it would play the trailer for this movie and it had the voice, and it used to just scare the shit out of me. So I'm just going to forward wind all these trailers. Not forward wind, fast forward.
See, this does a real good job of building that suspense, like the voices, and then cutting in it to nothing.
No thing.
This is the word I was looking for. I was going to say no thing in particular, but obviously there's something there. But it follows down, and then boom, it's just Ron and Hermione looking for Harry. So what are you doing? So, nothing. And also we get the introduction of Gilderoy Lockhart.
Yeah, I was just going to bring this up. I was going to bring that up.
Just like Jason Isaacs, spectacular casting.
He's great. It's sad that he never came back.
Yeah, well, I think that's because he got divorced from Emma Thompson, didn't he?
Yeah.
And I think it was I don't think she wanted him on set, and it was well, we need your character more than his, annoyingly. So
yeah, but then I suppose the scene that he comes back in the books is when they go to that hospital, isn't it? And she's not in that scene, so it's like
yeah, that's true.
But then I think I read they got rid of that scene anyway because they would have had to build a whole set and
Well, that's it, and it's just to visit Arthur in hospital, and
yeah,
again you learn about Neville's parents, but
snap.
It's nothing you can't explain.
Yeah, just with the line of dialogue, a little bit of exposition goes a long way, I suppose. This film came out a few weeks before Dumbledore's death, the real life Dumbledore.
Richard Harris. I forgot he got recast, didn't he?
Yeah. Well, I suppose they didn't really have a choice, did they?
Well, yeah.
Told Richard Harris.
I know it's a shame because I do think he's a better Dumbledore, but then I can't picture him doing the more like action.
No, yeah, he's too old and frail, isn't he? Like you think you could just tap him and he'd fall over.
Yeah, but I do like that he has that kind of Dumbledore, like he's
more mystical.
Mental. Yeah, he's more mystical, but he has got it all going on. He knows what's going on in the back.
Yeah,
which that book Dumbledore.
I got this bit of trivia that's actually I put for the third one, but I feel like I'll probably just put it in here. You know how Ian McKellen was offered the role of Dumbledore for the third one after Richard Harris died.
Yeah.
But he turned it down because he played Gandalf. He was like, I've had enough trouble living up to one legend. Two would be too much to hope for. Blah blah blah. But he also stated that it would have been inappropriate to take the role because Richard Harris had said that Ian McKellen was a dreadful actor.
Really?
Apparently, yeah.
Oh.
So he thought, oh, I can't really take over his role because he thought I was a dreadful actor, so I'm just going to leave that one alone. There you go, Michael Gambon. You can fill those boots.
Yeah, I mean, Michael Gambon. I mean, at the end, yeah, it's good casting, but I feel like the Dumbledore from like Prisoner of Azkaban and Goblet of Fire is wildly different from the ones at the end.
Yeah, but he's also in them a lot less. Rewatching the films recently, I've noticed that he's actually not in the films nearly as much as I thought. Yeah,
especially the sixth one where his whole thing is like that is Dumbledore's book because he gives Harry all his private lessons and stuff.
At least they have the trip to the island and the cave.
Yeah, that's what I mean. But I can't picture Richard Harris doing.
Oh no! That. Imagine him drinking at the seashell.
Or the bit with the big fire, and he's like, right.
I mean, I could imagine him doing that if he was just standing still and it was just sort of erupting out of him. But as soon as he has to do movement, I'd be like,
I suppose we say we can't picture it because we didn't have the technology back then to do it.
So true, I suppose.
Who knows? Maybe we would have pulled it off.
Yeah.
Like he was the only recast. That was the only recasting in the series, wasn't it? Tom the Innkeeper is the only other one. But
I mean, young Tom Riddle got recast a few times, I think.
Oh, that's true. Yeah,
stuff like that. And there's a bit. I don't think it's in this film. I think it's in another film when they're in they're in a pub, Leaky Cauldron or whatever, and there's a guy who's behind the bar, and he's credited in the credits as Aberforth, Dumbledore's brother. But then obviously he's recast for the last film with like a bigger actor, I suppose. And Lavender Brown was recast because I think she was played by a black actress, and then when it came to have a bigger role, they for some reason recast her. Yeah, I don't know why. Not that the other actress wasn't fine, like actress wise,
but she wasn't exactly like doing anything, was she?
Yeah.
Because that's what I do like about the books is you got the main trio, but then they do explain that there's the other people in the year, and they are like Seamus, Dean, Neville are the other boys, and then you've got obviously Hermione's girl, and then you got Parvati, Lavender Brown.
Do you know? Wait, is Parvati one of the twins?
Yeah.
You know, in the films, they were played by people that weren't related, even though they're identical.
Shut up! No,
I'm being serious. I read it earlier.
That can't be true. I have to admit this out. That can't be true.
Look it up. Well, I mean, it might be wrong, but it said it on IMDb. Because I'm pretty sure they are twins in the books, right? Or is it just one of them?
No, they're twins in the book. In the book, they're in different houses, whereas in the film,
one's in Ravenclaw, isn't it? Yeah, I'm pretty sure that. Well, it said on IMDb, unless IMDb is a liar, which is very, very possible.
So she wasn't in Prisoner of Azkaban. She was played by somebody else in that. Oh yeah.
Yeah, see, they weren't related.
That feels
weird.
I feel
like if we go back and watch it, you could probably you could tell. I don't know, but strange.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about that. I'm
Hmm.
gonna have to. I'll go quickly see if I can YouTube it.
Do you think this film's better than the last one?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'd agree. As far as a film goes, I'm not sure which one I'd rather rewatch, but I think as a film goes, I think it's definitely better.
Yeah, just from I say the general directing and there's a bit more action in this one as well, especially at the end with the snake and the
Yeah.
basilisk story.
And do you know what I noticed about films 1 and 2? Out of both like the finales, Harry doesn't use any magic.
That is true.
He fights Quirrell, or I say fights in air quotes.
Yeah.
And he fights the basilisk. Not once is he using any spells. And he's supposed to be a wizard at a magic school.
He also, besides like the Voldemort one, he also doesn't destroy any Horcruxes apart from the diary.
Does he not?
No, he destroys his diary before he knows
do
what
the
it
cup
is.
in the films?
That's Hermione.
Oh yeah. What's the one? Oh no, the tiara. The tiara. He does the tiara. The
technically, well,
he stabs it and then Ron kicks it into the room.
Yeah,
in the films anyway.
Yeah, but yeah, in the books, it's Crabbe's fiend fire that destroys it. They don't actually get it out of there. Oh no, they get it out, but I think they just throw it back in. And the fire is what destroys it. Because Hermione says, and like the only other thing that could destroy it is fiend fire, but I wouldn't dare use it. And then one of Crabbe will go use it in the next one and like obliterate the room.
Is that only in the books? I know that he has the fire thing. Yeah, but does she say that? I don't remember. I don't know.
Yeah, she says, I know it could have worked, but I would never have, because it's just uncontrollable. I just never would have used it. Like
what, she says that in the film?
No, in the book.
Oh, in the book. Sorry.
The films. I can't remember.
Yeah, I don't remember mentioning it, but yeah. I guess he.
But yeah, I mean, this is the film that sets up that kind of Horcrux story, doesn't it?
Yeah. Well, I suppose I don't think at the time that even they knew.
No, I don't think they should know. I think it was just a happy coincidence. Like, oh, we've got this, because all the other ones are like his family's ring. It's like the locket, the cup, and all this like real stuff. And then his diary. It's like okay, and they're like, no, because he wanted to keep himself with him at Hogwarts. For that Era Slytherin thing. It's like it doesn't really fit with the rest of his plan, but sure, we'll go with it.
He already had, supposedly, he already has a Horcrux in Hogwarts in the Room of Requirements. So.
Exactly. Yeah.
Surely that. Why didn't he put the diary? The diary. I said that weird. Why didn't he put the diary there?
Yeah, well, because he gives it to
Lucius Malfoy has it, and he puts it in Ginny's cauldron. But where did he get it from? Or did he have it the whole time?
I think Voldemort entrusts it with him to keep it safe, but I don't think he quite knows what it is.
He has varying levels of security for these Horcruxes. Yeah. Like one of them, he puts in a cave in buttfuck nowhere where you have to take a boat, and then there's a million like creatures under the water, and you have to drink a potion. All that. And the other one he just gives to Lucius Malfoy.
But I think I can't remember if this was actually explained or if this was just a fan theory. But I think the idea of the diary actually was to tell his story. For Tom
to tell who?
Well, just to have his story known. But then he doesn't want to die, so that doesn't make sense either.
Yeah. I mean, it's all retconning, isn't it? Like,
well, that's what I mean. It does feel like retcon.
Yeah, for sure. Like you don't get a person coming out of the locket to try and convince someone to bring him back somehow, whatever. Like the locket just showed Ron some grotesque.
Voldemort trying to stop Ron from doing.
Trying to stop who?
Sorry.
What did you say?
I said the locket does fight back, doesn't it? Which I guess is what the diary did.
Yeah, but the diary had like a whole bloody plan. Like it took like all year.
The biggest thing that tries to wedge between this film and the book is when Harry gives the diary to Lucius Malfoy at the end to free Dobby.
Yeah.
Is in the film, he puts the sock in the diary, doesn't he?
Yeah.
So when Dobby opens it, he finds the sock in Malfoy's given him the sock. In the book, he does it the other way around. He stuffs the diary into his sock. So when Malfoy rips the sock off and goes, and throws it away, Dobby just happens to catch it. What? Which is bizarre.
That's wildly presumptuous that that's going to work.
Exactly.
Also, even if you go by the film one, like, how do you know he's going to give that to Dobby? He might just put it in his pocket. Like, and now you've just got one sock on and you look like an idiot.
Exactly. Yeah. Like that was a wild.
And your friend is still a slave, so. Like, it worked out. And then, there's another thing in that scene. Lucius Malfoy literally tries to murder Harry.
Yeah,
he goes, he does, like, and I'm like, you are going to murder him downstairs from Dumbledore's office in Hogwarts. You idiot. I imagine Dumbledore's like just sees Harry run out the office after Lucius, and then he just hears Avada Kedavra, and he's like, "Oh shit, Harry's just been murdered downstairs." Whoopsie.
Oh, you still there?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, you just cut off really suddenly then.
I thought you said something, so I was waiting for you.
Oh, no. No, sorry, I'm just reading on fandom.com. It says why he made the diary a Horcrux. And so it was proof that he was the heir of Slytherin, and then it would also still allow him. Otherwise, the fact that the diary was a common artifact made it very ironic to him, given it was made Michael's. It was intended as a weapon, so to unleash the basilisk once again in Hogwarts, rather than keeping the portion of the soul safe, which is what Horcrux has been meant for. Oh. But then, I guess
that sounds like grasping at straws to me. Trying to make sense of it, which is fine.
Yeah. But then I guess he didn't. I suppose he prepared for if his body was destroyed. That's why he had the Horcruxes. That was the idea.
Yeah, I suppose that's why he had so many. Like you can't.
So then the fact he could still then control the basilisk at Hogwarts and prove he was the heir of Slytherin.
So does that mean that when Tom Riddle was at Hogwarts, he was just hanging out with a big snake?
Yeah.
So they were just hanging out.
He murdered someone while he was at school.
Yeah, and he blamed Hagrid for it.
Yeah, he got the basilisk to kill Myrtle. Then, because they couldn't figure out what was going on, they were like, right, we're going to have to shut the school. You're going to have to go back to your orphanage. And he was like, nah, I ain't having that. Framed Hagrid and Aragog.
Yeah.
And then that summer went out and killed his uncle and granddad and took his ring and made another Horcrux.
It seems strange to I can just imagine him hanging out with a big snake. Like,
yeah.
Weird. And also, that's the reason Hagrid can't use magic, isn't allowed to use magic, right?
Yeah, because he was expelled and his wand was snapped in half.
But then he uses his umbrella. So is there a wand in his umbrella?
It's pretty much, but it's never like fully stated. It's like Hagrid. Harry always suspected Hagrid kept half of his wand in his umbrella. Like that's the kind of. And even Hagrid alludes to it. Like I think it's the third one. He's growing massive pumpkins, and Hermione's like, "Wow, they're awfully big. Did you use an enlargement charm?" He's like, "Oh, something like that." And it's like he nods towards his umbrella, and it's like, "Oh yeah." I think
Surely Dumbledore could just, be like, "Oh, here's a wand, Hagrid. Just, he's on the sly."
Well, yeah, that's probably Dumbledore who, came up with the idea or helped him. Because Dumbledore then let him be groundsman when he was 13, which is wild. Imagine being 13, kicked out of school, and the head teacher's like, "That's right, you can still work at the school while all your friends study magic."
Wait, he was 13 when he got kicked out?
Yeah, he was only in third year. So he would have been 13 going on 40.
I thought he was older.
No, he was like young. And then because Dumbledore didn't believe Tom Riddle and didn't believe that Hagrid did it, which is why he let Hagrid stay at the school.
See,
but then he wasn't headmaster at the time.
No, it wasn't. It was
Dippet.
With D.
Armando Dippet.
Yeah.
So maybe he let him come back afterwards. Oh, I don't know. But anyway, Dumbledore then let him come back, which is why I think he says like, "Oh, I trust Hagrid with everything." Yeah. Because he always says this. It's never understated why Dumbledore does trust Hagrid. But I guess because he's like he helped him out, and he's like, "No, I know Hagrid wouldn't do that."
I guess Dumbledore knows who's good and who's bad, I suppose. So,
Chamber of Secrets.
This is the one where they do the apologies potion, isn't it?
Yeah, they set up the get out of jail free card for the rest of the series.
Because I have a bit of the trivia that says Tom Felton, who's Draco Malfoy, forgot his line. So when he sees Harry disguised as Goyle, he couldn't remember what he was supposed to say, so he just goes, "I didn't know you could read."
Yeah,
like that was improvised apparently, which I think is one of the better lines.
Because also it's probably the most played Crabbe and Goyle get in the whole series.
Oh, for sure.
Right,
and that's not just because Crabbe was arrested for writing
and growing weed and all sorts.
But I mean, do you
go on.
want to move on to the third one? Because at this rate, it's going to take us till bloody midnight.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. So, Prisoner of Azkaban, best film, best book. Cool. Moving on.
Do you think?
Hands down.
So this is the first time it's a different director. It's Alfonso Cuarón.
Yeah.
Apparently, he didn't want to do it, but he was, and he hadn't read the books, but he was convinced by Guillermo del Toro.
Okay.
Who said like, you need to read these books, and you should not turn this down.
I mean, even from the get go, you can tell this is a different vibe from like the other ones.
This is where it starts getting dark.
it's dark, and like even the weather, like it's all like a lot of the work is like it's handheld camera work, and like
Yeah.
the production design is
It
different,
just
and
looks
this like
different as well, doesn't it? Like
it
everything looks
does.
different. Hagrid's hut's in a different place. The Whomping Willow's in a different place. There's a lot of
Mhm.
changes. Obviously,
Yeah,
given
and
Dumbledore.
it's the uniform. He says to them, "I'll wear the uniform how you would wear it, like make it more of a school." Which
Yeah.
again is hard when you read the books because in the book they constantly wear robes.
Hmm.
Like it's only like I think in the summer and when they're going to Muggle places they wear Muggle clothes. Otherwise they're always wearing
Just
robes,
robes
which
all
is
the time.
weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, because then it's like Harry stuffed in the pocket of his robes. You think, hang on, in the film he's wearing a denim jacket here. So what? Like,
Yeah. Or like they wear like that jumpers and tires and that, don't they?
yeah, and then, yeah, even in like and like they wear wizard hats to classes and things like that.
Hmm. Yeah, I'm
It's
kind of
just,
glad
it's
they
just
they made that change. I think.
yeah, I think it works better as like a normal boarding school. Have a uniform, but then on the off days you wear
Yeah, it
Muggle
makes more
clothes.
sense. I
I
mean,
think they
I
do try
think
and
no, sorry, you go.
go. I think they do try and explain it that like the younger generation get Muggle clothes better than the adult wizards. Like, it's like a
Yeah,
generational thing.
it makes sense, doesn't it?
Yeah, but
Because I mean, they're not like Molly Weasley's not wearing robes all the time, is she? Like, she'll wear like an
no,
apron with like a funny old dress.
yeah, I don't know. It's just a
Or
weird thing
like,
between the films and
I
the
mean, it's
books.
probably a film thing, but like even a lot of the Ministry are wearing like suits, aren't
Hmm. Yeah, where there's like a big point that when Harry first meets Barty Crouch in the next one, he doesn't look like a wizard. He looks like a banker. And then he meets
they?
him again at Hogwarts and he looks like a wizard, but still looks just as sharp and neat.
Mm,
So then, yeah,
yeah,
and like that's the whole point of the Quidditch World Cup is you see these wizards trying to act like muggles. Like there's like an old man wearing a dress,
yeah,
but obviously he's not supposed to. Not supposed to, you know,
yeah.
and things.
This
But this,
so
gone.
you think this is the best film?
Yeah, hands down. I think it's the most creative. It's the most like, besides the first one, the most I don't say magical, but like
I mean, I suppose like this is the first
enthralling.
finale that involves magic.
Yeah, but it's not
That's
even
for
that.
sure.
Like, I think also I'm a big sucker for Remus Lupin. He is my favorite character.
Is it?
And obviously this is the film. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I love him. I think I think he's one of, if not the most interesting characters, and also the one that's forgotten about the most. Because everyone goes
Yeah,
on about James and Sirius being best friends and like, oh, it's so tragic what
yeah.
happened. It's like
What about Lupin?
he had such a tragic life. Like,
They
okay, so
and
he
they
was
don't go
bitten.
into it. They don't go into it in the film, do they? Like they don't go into the whole. Is it Fenrir Greyback? Is he the one who bit him?
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't go into all of that, do they? Because he was bitten
No.
as a child.
Yeah, so as a child, he had this weird ailment that once a month he'd just go mental, like turn into a monster. Then he didn't think he would ever be allowed to go to school with other children until Dumbledore was like, "No, you can come. I'll make special arrangements. You know, you should be given the choice."
Yeah,
Then that every month he does go away. He has to go and hide and on his own. Then he finally makes some friends who then become an magi and head off with him, and he has the best time of his life. Even says like, "Oh, those are the best years of my life."
yeah.
Then they leave school and enter into a war where people he knows are dying and whatever. Then one of his friends dies. He thinks the other one's dead, and the other one
Goes
got
to jail.
sent to did it and got sent to jail. So he loses all three of them in the span of one night,
Poor
right?
Lupin.
And then because of that, he then has to go on the run, and like he can't hold down a job because of his condition, and he's poor and broke. Then he gets hired back to his school where he meets Harry, James's son. He's like finally, and he finds out Sirius is innocent, and he's got his friend back, and he's got James's son. He's like, yep, good, done.
Yeah.
Then Snape, who isn't a good guy, I don't care what you say, he's bad.
Yep.
Like spills the beans, so he has to go out again. Then there's another war. He comes back, gets married, has a son, great, and then he goes and dies, and it's just like what?
I
Like
think
this
I think
poor
we can
guy.
just blame J.K. Rowling for killing him for the sake of it.
This guy, he just
There was no need for
doesn't
him to die, was there? I know we're jumping ahead, but
just give the guy a break, man. Like, oh my
yeah.
god. Like, so yeah, that's why I like Lupin.
Yeah.
Also, he's the most valuable teacher Harry ever has, bar none.
I suppose Dumbledore's not a teacher, is he?
Well, yeah, but then also Dumbledore has that whole like raising him to die at the proper moment, and he's more preparing him for the battle rather than teaching him.
Rather than just being nice.
Yeah, I mean, I do think Dumbledore does love him. I know that's a hot contended point. Like,
Yeah.
is Dumbledore good overall? But I do think he did have his best interests at heart.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I think with the Dementors and stuff, it's the first time that like not the first time, but obviously, like you said earlier, like it's just expanding the world. Because now you get to learn about Azkaban, which they mentioned in the second film. So they say Hagrid's going to Azkaban and whatever, and it shows just how like I guess scary and like the scary shit that's out there in this world, rather than just
like
it's
this is the
just a
first
magic
time you're
school.
like, like you go outside the Hogwarts world almost, and it's like, right, it's not all safe and secure out there. You have to know what is out there, and there are threats, and like that does time with the kind of darker theme of the book.
Yeah.
But again, it's talking about expanding on that lore. This gives you obviously all the backstory into like Harry's father and his life at school and his parents. So it kind of fills in those gaps. It's like what was Hogwarts like before, which is why I do like this film as well, because it's not about the big Voldemort story. Like that's kind of
yeah. I know what you mean. This to me is sort of like this and the sixth one.
Yeah,
they're similar in the sense that they're not Voldemort trying to come back, whereas pretty much all of the other ones are.
Yeah, and it's especially the sixth one. Like that is just a year of them at school. Obviously, there's things going on, but like nothing. Yeah. It's the opposite of the first one to me, where like nothing happens.
Yeah,
obviously stuff does
happen. The sixth one's actually my favorite.
Sixth one is after the third one. Sixth one's my favorite, but I think the third one has the best like mystery plot and like plot lines that all interweave. Like there's obviously the like where is Sirius Black, Lupin's ill, like the whole Crookshanks thing. Harry keeps seeing this dog everywhere.
The night bus. I know that's not a plot point. I just thought I'd mention it.
Yeah, like the Dementors are about who is the Sirius Black. Turns out it's Harry's godfather, but he's not. There's people, and it's like everything gets interwoven. And it's also really creepy. Like there's a bit in the book where it says about Harry waking up and he looks out the window and he sees the black dog on the field, like on the grass, and he's like, "Oh my god!" And then he sees Crookshanks with it. He's like, "Oh my god!" And then he blinks and it's gone. And it's like this dog's like stalking him. Obviously, because it's Sirius. Yeah, and it's like, oh, it's just chilling. It's like, oh.
Also, like in the film when Peter Pettigrew is turning back into a rat or from a rat is the creepiest imagery in like, all these films, I swear.
Scariest.
He's just a creepy man in general. Like he just unnerves me. Just his face.
Yeah. Again, it is that moment where he leaps through, because I think it's because like either there's no music or very little music, and you've got like them trying to blast him, and there's that janky piano chord that gets hit. Yeah. It's like, and it's like, oh, and that unnerves you, and then he changes back, and you think, oh, the whole thing is just unsettling, and it's like this whole.
And when you think that Ron had this man in his hand for like years, he lived in his room,
sleeping next to him in bed.
Oh, it's just odd. Like but
then, like, even that's explained. Like when he changed, he wanted to find a wizarding family to keep in the loop about the wizarding world, and it so happened to be the Weasleys. But like even that is like, that's a bit of a coincidence. But it feels like it works, because obviously he wouldn't go to like the Malfoys or something, because they wouldn't have a rat.
Yeah. But they'd probably just kill him. You just see him with his neck snapped like a big rat trap.
Yeah.
Oh shit! We killed Pettigrew. Whoops.
But then he probably wouldn't want to stay with a family that was tied to the dark arts and things, because the Weasleys weren't in the order the first time around. They say that, so he's thinking that like it makes sense from that standpoint. And again, like the whole bits of the reason he keeps running away and hiding is because he knows that Crookshanks knows who he is, and Crookshanks is out to get him. And Ron just thinks it's because the cat just wants the rat, but it's actually more than that.
But how he sees him on the Marauders map, and he's going down the corridor and all that. And so why is it that he's never seen him on that map before that point, just in Ron's room?
What, by Fred and George?
Well, Fred and George. Why did they never see Pettigrew's name? But also, when they give it to Harry, surely he would immediately see Peter Pettigrew with Ron, like immediately. Surely.
Well, maybe just. Well, no, because I think Scabbers is missing. That's the point. I think Scabbers is hiding this the whole year.
Okay, but then why did Fred and George never see him?
Well, yeah, again, that's one of those things. It's like, hang on,
plot hole, I guess.
All these years you've seen, but then also, why would you be watching the boys' dormitory on the map? I guess.
Well, not that, but I mean, I suppose they also wouldn't know that name. But even still, like. Then I think like, oh, my brother's over there, and apparently there's a man on top of him.
Yeah, but then, but
it just seems strange. Like if
just to hide from Filch and teachers and things, they're probably not worried about where Ron is. But like you say,
well, imagine they're in the common room and they can see their names, and they look upstairs to which is, I'm assuming, the bedroom's just on top of the common room.
Yeah,
and there's Ron and Harry and Peter. Wait, Peter? What?
Yeah.
Who's that?
Yeah, no, I know. I get what you're saying, but I think you could argue something like Google Maps. You know, like the first thing everyone does is go to their own house, but why would you like?
Yeah, I guess you wouldn't go
they would
looking
never have a
yeah.
need to know who's in the dormitory because they wouldn't.
I guess.
Why would they need to know where they are? And I mean, again, there's that whole that is a plot point. That is a plot hole. Especially since they don't even say, "Oh, we got it early this year." They say we got it in our first year, which was like, for them 4 years ago.
Yeah, I mean, if as soon as they first get it, how many times am I going to say first? When they get it, surely they would look at their dormitory. Just wouldn't that be like one of the first things you do, especially if you're sitting in the dormitory?
Yeah, maybe.
I don't know.
So then first year, one wasn't there because they're 2 years old.
I was second year because they were there at that point. But then I suppose, yeah, why would they look? I don't know. Just it seemed funny to me.
I do like that it's them who give Harry the map because they're like,
yeah,
you can't leave. We can make sure you leave.
Yeah. So you put this so far. This is like your favorite one, better than the other two. I'd say it's better than the first two as well. I'm not sure where it would end up in my final sort of ranking, but
I think because this one is so visually distinct and like the music in it, like A Window to the Past is probably my favorite song, which is like I suppose you could call it like the Lupin theme. You know, the because again, this one feels like a Christmas film almost.
You think?
Or like, especially a wintry film. Oh yeah, like, this is very much a winter like.
Maybe that's because of all the ice from the Dementors.
Yeah, I think so.
Just apparently when they were Alfonso, what's his name? He said to like the editors and that like he thought it'd be cool if like ice sort of came up when the Dementors are around, and they thought he meant eyes. So they mocked up this storyboard of all like eyes falling from the sky because they couldn't understand his accent.
Oh, that must have been a rough day. Like.
Imagine you come in like ready to see this like all icy train sequence, and there's just fucking eyeballs falling from the sky.
I mean, if you want to talk about the Dementors, I mean, like
spooky. They definitely look spookier in this than they do in the next one. Not the next one. Is it the next one? Or the fifth one? No, the fifth one. Order of Phoenix. Yeah.
Well, because they're not hooded in that, and they're a bit more.
No, they just got weird. They're like, yeah, I don't know.
I think the problem is in the fifth one is they're faster, and because you can tell they're CGI and not real, and like,
yeah.
Whereas in this, they are slow and they kind of creep out and.
Yeah, and they got that creepy. Like even the mouth looks creepier. Like,
yeah, and like that first moment where it appears, like you just see the hand first, and it pulls back.
I remember seeing the trailer for that bit, and I was like, "Oh my god, how is this? Is this Harry Potter? What?"
Yeah, and it's like a real big dramatic. And then when Harry encounters them at the Quidditch match, okay, they're flying around, but it's like he sees the Grim, and then you just see one out the back of his eye, and then another, and then one by one they come in until he's surrounded, and then that one comes right up on the camera.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's why these ones work, because they are slowly built up and just drip fed, and then eventually they're overwhelming. Whereas in the other ones, it's like bang, here they are. And you think, oh, all right, like Jesus, but yeah.
But I mean, I really like the time travel stuff, and I mean, it sets up some like problems for like why did they never ever use this again, which I'm sure there's explanations for. But I think
when the fifth one, when they go to the Ministry of Magic, they break all the time turners, which are all kept in one cabinet, and they break it.
Right, but I mean, what about the one Hermione has?
I think she gives it back at the end of the year. She only had it for that year, I think, because she was taking all those subjects. But then she drops divination, so that frees her up, and one of the other ones as well.
So they just happen to destroy every single time turner.
Yeah, it's plot convenience.
Yeah, but I mean, it's an interesting plot point, and I can't remember what I thought when I was a kid, but I'm sure I didn't see it coming. I don't know. It's too long ago. But as we said earlier, it was the least successful at the box office, this one.
Yeah, and I to be fair, I think the shift in tone probably didn't help with that.
Yeah.
But then this also came out the same year as Spider-Man 2, The Incredibles, Shrek 2, Passion of the Christ. Like, he had some big
tough
players.
Competition.
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, as you said, it's definitely better than the other two. And I think obviously it sort of sets the tone for where the rest of the films go, doesn't it?
Yeah.
In terms of look and feeling, because it just gets darker from here.
Yeah, and then the other ones kind of they're darker, but I feel like this is going to sound really weird, but like imagine the first two are kind of like golden, then this one's more silver, and then the other ones kind of take it back up to gold afterwards.
Do you think?
Not
what color wise?
like gold standard, but just just like
I think
the
first two seem like gold to me. This one's silver, and then like the fourth one seems it's gonna sound stupid. The fourth one's like a muddy brown.
Yeah, I remember that one being
then,
real like dark.
And then 5, 6, 7, 8 are just like progressively darker and darker, sort of
Mm.
bluey, dirty green, black.
Yeah.
I don't know.
No, okay, yeah, no, that makes sense. Yeah. The sixth one's definitely green. I have no idea why it was associated with being green.
But then also I think the second one's green, but that's just because the DVD cover was green.
Yeah, I think because the potion is green, and not on the book cover it was green.
The book was like green.
Slytherin locket, and no, it's not the locket, it's the book. But yeah, I'm glad you see what you get what I mean.
Yeah, no, for sure.
But I do really like this one. I think all the characters have their best moments in this, and also in the book wise, this is the best Quidditch book. Like the Quidditch stuff that happens in this one is the best.
Is it? I can't say. I can't remember, to be honest.
Yeah, only because it's the end of the end of the first team Harry knows, because obviously so that's him, the twins as the beaters, Oliver Wood as the keeper, and then Katie Bell, Alicia Spinnet, and Angelina Johnson as the chasers. Who were the team in the first 3 books.
Yeah,
there's no Quidditch in the 4th one because of the tournament, and then in the 5th one Ron takes over as keeper, and then by the 6th one it's a couple of the others are left, like the twins aren't in there anymore, and it's like there's all these hodgepodge, and then 7th one is long gone. But I do book wise and film wise, I think this is definitely the strongest. I think this is the peak.
I think it's definitely better than the other two, but I don't think it's best film. But I think maybe I need to think about that harder. I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah. Should we move on to Goblet of Fire?
Let's move on to Goblet of Fire.
The biggest book of the series.
No, it's not. I think the 5th one's bigger, isn't it?
Oh yeah, you're right. Sorry, I forgot that book even existed then, because I don't like it.
Because I'm pretty sure the 5th book is the second shortest film. The biggest book is the second shortest film, and the second shortest book is the longest film, which is Chamber of Secrets.
That's weird.
It's a weird coincidence. So Chamber of Fire. Goblet of Fire is the one that obviously has the Triwizard Tournament, and
also why this one wasn't called. I keep forgetting about the ending. I keep forgetting about this book. I'm just thinking about the opening, the World Cup.
Yeah, it's a good opening. But why was it called the Goblet of Fire? Because it doesn't even have much play in the film.
I was just about to say, should have been called Harry Potter and the Triwizard Tournament.
I always thought that when I was a kid. Yeah, but I suppose Triwizard Tournament or whatever. I think it doesn't sound as good, but then maybe that's just because I'm used to the Goblet of Fire.
Yeah.
But obviously, so this film sees them in their 4th year. They've all got long hair for some reason. And
it's when puberty starts striking down in like relationships,
and 2 other schools come down, and I'm assuming they're there for the whole year. Is that right?
Yeah. In the books, it's only those old enough to qualify, but in the film, I think it's just all the students. Well, it may just be the ones that are old enough to qualify.
I mean, you got Victor Crumb, who is a professional Quidditch player, and yet he comes to their school and somehow gets the Triwizard thing. Like, okay, sure.
Yeah, a bit of a plot convenience, and then Fleur Delacour, who then ends
Isn't
up
she in the book?
Bill
It's implied that she's part.
Veela.
She's not. Yeah, she's not all human.
Yeah, so the Veela are like these beautiful creatures that are like basically like like sirens at sea that lure sailors in, and then monsters. It's basically like that, but on land. So these beautiful creatures that then like are monsters. But
that's why all the boys like her, probably.
Yeah, I think it's like her grandmother is part Veela. She then, like I just said, she hangs around in the later books. She then goes on to become Bill Weasley, who's the oldest Weasley son, his wife.
They get married.
So
because she's in the films, isn't she? In the last film, well, second to last.
Yeah,
film,
and he's like just brushed over, like she's like, oof.
Yeah,
like,
I mean, not as brushed over as Charlie Weasley, but
yeah, who wasn't even in the films. But then he's barely in the books. To be fair, he's in the 4th one, and I think that's it, really. I think he shows up in the Battle of Hogwarts, but yeah, he's hardly in them. I was in the first one. What am I about in the book? Yeah, he takes Norbert away. But
we should get rid of Percy, and we should bring Charlie in, because fuck Percy.
Percy's the most annoying.
He's a dickhead, isn't he? Like, he's in the later films, and he's wearing a stupid little suit, and he's got his like curly hair, and I'm like, oh, just fuck off, Percy.
And what he does to like the Weasley family, it's like Harry Potter. It's like, get bent, you big stuff ball.
He's just a dickhead. Anyway, not really relevant to this film.
No.
And this is why this is going to take so long, because we're just talking about.
Maybe we might have to break this up into 2 episodes to the first 4, because we're already hitting 40.
Yeah, I was thinking that.
Maybe we should, because I'm hitting 40 minutes on my recording, and this is part 2.
Yeah.
So I got 40 minutes and 36 minutes on those combined. So that's like.
So we're already over an hour. Maybe we'll split this into 2, and then we can talk about this one a little bit more in depth, and then.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah, cool. We can do
that. Right. If you're listening, you'll have to tune in next week as well.
Yeah, we'll explain. Do you want to do like a sting now that you can put at the front and explain? We're just going to cover the first 4 books.
We could do, but I guess it's going to be in the title.
Yeah, I suppose that's true. Yeah. Okay. Well, this film was famously directed by someone,
Mike Newell.
Mike Newell, who never read the book.
Oh, what at all?
No, he didn't read the book. It was only his writers who and the producer obviously gave him the outline, but he never read the book, which is why there's so much missing.
Yeah.
There's a whole Barty Crouch storyline that's just ignored. The Quidditch World Cup is nothing.
I suppose that comes because he didn't write the screenplay, I'm assuming.
No.
So I'd imagine that also comes down to them, but not reading the book is that's bad, isn't it?
So I think that's why this one's so divisive between fans, because the books, again, I think this has the best mystery second to Prisoner of Azkaban.
What with the moody Barty Crouch stuff?
Yeah, and who put Harry's name in, what's going on with Harry's dreams and Voldemort coming back, and there's again similar to Azkaban, there's all these different plot points that are then tied up at the end.
Yeah.
And I mean, it is done in an exposition dump. You do just literally get Dumbledore going to Barty Crouch with the truth potion and going, tell me what happened. He goes, right, well, it started with this, and then this happened, and then because of that, this did, and then my dad did this, and then he did this. It's like, okay,
and then I stuck my tongue out.
Yeah. Which was David Tennant's thing.
Then I was Doctor Who for a bit. Wait, he came up with that?
Yeah, that was David Tennant's little thing.
That's cool. I like that, because it's that thing when you see Mad Eye Moody, you see him do that little tongue flick, and you're like, oh my god. Oh my god.
Yeah, because again, in the book, that's disguised really well. There's a bit where Harry, going back to the map, he sees Barty Crouch. It just says Barty Crouch on the map in Snape's dungeon.
Oh, obviously. Looking for Polyjuice stuff.
Junior, looking for Polyjuice things.
Yeah.
Or it's either that, or I think he's looking for Gillyweed to give to Dobby. I think Dobby steals it.
Dobby? Does Dobby give it to him?
Yeah, other than the third one, Dobby is in every book.
Yeah, but Neville doesn't give it to him in the book?
No, it's Dobby. Dobby is in Dobby, because that's when you find out the house elves are working in Hogwarts.
Oh yeah, and
SPW. But he says, I was cleaning up the staff room and I heard McGonagall and Moody talking about it, and Moody says, I don't know why he doesn't use gillyweed, and then Dobby's like, okay, I'm gonna go get some gillyweed.
Okay.
And then he wakes Harry up.
Yeah.
Even though I think he does try and convince Neville to do it, because he gives him after he
gives him that book.
He gives him the books, but Neville says there's these water plants, and Harry's like, yeah, whatever, I don't care. And he just brushes it off, and then he goes to focus on the egg or do something else.
Yeah.
But it's like Moody's like, I planted the seed there for you, you just didn't follow it up on it.
So let's talk about the challenges for this Triwizard tournament.
Yeah, because
this is a thing that happens. What is it? Every 4 years? How many? Is it every 4 years?
7 years.
Every 7 years. So every 7 years.
Well, it was. This is the first time in a few years since it happened.
So they get 3 students to fight dragons. Well, not fight them, but they put them up in an arena with dragons. First off, I can't see everything that's wrong with that. How or why or when has had that ever been a good idea?
Well, I think it's explained later on, because in the second task, Harry does something that costs him points because he thinks they're going to die.
Yeah.
And then Ron says, he's like, are you forgetting who our head teacher is? Like, of course he wouldn't let anyone get hurt or die from this. And it is that kind of... I mean, I always think about watching the film,
but when he's getting dragged down by those things in the second task, what's Dumbledore going to do then? Or let's say in the first task, the dragon breathes fire at Harry and he just doesn't move out of the way in time. What happens then?
Well,
as we see in the last film, dragon fire is it's not easy to survive. I don't know.
I'm sure there was things.
It seems crazy to me. It's like, why? That's like at our school, we have other schools come over and we pick 3 people and we put them in a gladiator match with each other and give them knives. That's basically what that is. Or like let's have our students fight a tiger.
Yeah, just dump them in like, there you go, off you go. Grab that pebble that
Yeah,
is
like I get
garden.
their magical world, but it's just I don't know. It seems strange.
Yeah.
And then obviously the third
Yes.
task, isn't it in the books? It's like the maze is filled with like loads of creatures and all that. It's
Yeah,
like
and it's
blast-ended scroots or something weird like that.
from
Isn't it?
Hagrid. There's like a
Yeah.
sphinx that asks a riddle.
Yeah. Whereas in the film they decide to go for CGI bushes.
Yeah, and yeah, I think that was just to wrap it up and get to the next bit. Because
Yeah.
I always forget that graveyard bit's coming when I read the book. Well, I say
Mm.
I forget it's coming. I get so enthralled in the maze. I'm like, oh yeah. And I'm like, oh, I've still got the whole like next bit now. I do
Yeah.
the same with Prisoner of Azkaban. It gets to the point where
Oh, they're in the woods.
after James saves them before the time travel bit, I
Yeah.
go, oh, okay. And it's like, oh, they go back in time. Like, oh, I've got to do all that again.
Yeah.
Like, oh.
Yeah. That I had to say the third film, that is a bit where I'm like, oh, okay. There is still more of this film.
The only good thing is obviously it's told from a different perspective.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, okay, yeah, that's fine.
But
There's that thing where, oh, sorry, I was gonna say, like, I don't know about if you get this, but do you ever feel like when you watch a part 1 and 2 of anything, you always think part 1's a bit like, well, this is a bit like, this isn't as fulfilling because I know part 2 is the conclusion and like the
yeah,
big,
no,
the
I know,
happy ending.
I know what you mean.
And I always think I feel the same about that with Azkaban. Like, I think the early stuff, I'm like, well, this isn't important because I know the big payoffs coming later, but I still get enthralled in it at the time.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Hmm.
So I suppose it's sort of the same with like part 1 and part 2 of Deathly Hallows.
Yeah,
you think part 1 is just essentially set up, but in a way, I prefer that bit. I don't know why, because it's not you don't have to commit as much because it's not the ending. That makes sense.
I get it. Yeah,
but there's the the bit in the maze where Crumb is bewitched, and he's bewitched to attack anyone other than Harry, and I'm assuming that's so Harry will get to the cup, and all that. I'd have thought about it, and I've forgotten it. I'm assuming it's Moody that bewitches him.
Yeah, Moody says, no, it's Moody.
Right.
He says, I'm patrolling the perimeter. And his plan was, get Crumb to kill the others. And then obviously Crumb dies in the thing. Or how about, I don't know, bewitch him and curse him.
Yeah.
And then it's that way Harry won't have to worry about one of the others getting the cup.
Okay.
It will look like, and then I think the idea, and then maybe I think it's the idea is, so it looks like Karkaroff did that to Crumb, or Crumb.
Yeah, or he's just
Karkaroff in trouble and get revenge. But
I suppose Karkaroff, he's the one who dobbed in Barty Crouch Jr., isn't he?
Yeah,
in that flashback scene. Barty Crouch Jr. What I don't understand is though, like they make the cup a portkey to get Harry to the graveyard. Why not just get Moody to bring Harry to his office and have him touch the doorknob and make that portkey? Something random like that.
Because you can't operate within the castle.
All right, we'll take him out to the park. I don't know.
Well, I think it's explained that he couldn't have done that under Dumbledore's watch. If Dumbledore knew, if it had happened, while Dumbledore was in the castle, I think that's explained that way. There is a reason, and I remember like them saying, because they always have like the post-adventure like exposition briefing.
Yeah.
Where like Dumbledore explains everything to Harry, and I think he says like he knows the real Moody would never. He knows that I would never have let Moody do that or something. I think the idea was put him in the maze so no one knows what's going on, so Harry can get taken off, and they think he's just in the maze. Whereas obviously, if he's in school and he's gone for 3 hours, people are going to be like, oh, "Harry went off to Moody's office and he hasn't come back yet."
Yeah, I guess, but then it's.
I don't know. Maybe, I guess it was just timing, wasn't it?
It just seems like there'd be less convoluted ways to get him to that graveyard. I don't know. But I'm just being cynical.
Why did Barty Crouch?
While you're googling that, did you know that Victor Crumb has 2 lines in this entire film?
Really?
Totaling 20 words in the entire movie.
Well, do you know what they are?
I can't remember, to be honest. It's probably him asking Hermione out, maybe, or something. Oh no, you don't see that, do you?
I think he says, yeah, here's my address. Like, it says here on Google, the Tribes of Cup was supposed to be set up as a portkey to take the victor out of the maze. It would have been easy for Barty Crouch Jr. to add an extra stop to that, as the cup was already an authorized portkey.
Oh yeah, okay, that makes a lot of sense. They don't explain that.
Yeah, I think
That
that was
makes
the
sense.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think
Okay.
yeah they say. So I think he says to Dumbledore, oh, I'll take it into the maze and I'll do the portkey. Thinking like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, that's Mad Eye Moody, I don't trust him. And then
Yeah. Okay. That makes a lot of sense. If they explained that, I wouldn't have asked that question.
uh,
But that makes sense because otherwise, if you grab the cup and then what, you're still in a bloody death maze.
yeah, I think again, yeah, just on the Reddit thing, um, Voldemort was gonna kill Harry in the graveyard, so having him die in the tournament would have been like an accident, and then it wouldn't have made Dumbledore's return clear, which is what Voldemort says at the end. Like, um,
Wait, did you
yeah,
just say Dumbledore's return?
no, sorry, Voldemort's return. Sorry, but no, Dumbledore says at the end when
Yeah.
Voldemort returns, he says like, you've done the one thing he didn't want to happen. You've made it known now. He
Yeah.
wants to come back in
Okay.
secret.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But obviously, the Ministry then doesn't believe him, and it goes a bit skew iffy. Cup
Yeah.
was meant to report because Harry was bound to touch it with Crouch Jr., making it easier for Harry. If Harry was suspicious anytime during the school year, it would have triggered a massive manhunt with Dumbledore in charge. The truth would be found out. Yeah, so I think it was do it in the maze during the tournament where anything can happen, really.
Yeah. Okay.
And
That
then
makes sense.
I just
I've
want to
been
quickly talk about the casting for Mad Eye Moody, Brendan Gleeson, which is just
it's good, isn't it?
phenomenal.
Yeah.
Like it's probably his best role outside of Paddington 2. But yeah, fantastic.
Yeah.
Fantastic
Although I'm not
casting.
actually sure what else he's been in. Is he in
He was
is he in Troy?
He's in Bruges or in Bruges.
I haven't seen it.
We're
moving on.
No. Moving on. But there's a really famous story.
He's Bill Weasley's dad in real life, isn't he?
Yeah, because Donald Gleeson was a massive fan of Harry Potter growing up. Like he loved it, and he auditioned for every role he could. Like he auditioned for Stan Shumpike on the night bus, and he never got it. And then his dad was just like asked to be in the next one. They were like, "Yeah, do you want to be in this role?" He was like, "I had to audition," and my dad was just asked. He was like, "Yeah, sure. I don't know what this is about."
I wonder if he had to audition to be Bill, or they just asked him, because at that point he was already quite an established actor, wasn't he?
Yeah, I don't know, but I'm sure having a dad already in the series probably helps.
Oh, for sure.
And given he'd been into an audition for loads of others, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because Bill first appears in this book is when he first comes about, because he and Mrs. Weasley go down as like Harry's family to like spectate and help him. And he has that's like when he meets Fleur and he's like flirting with her, who is only 17 and he's like 23, so it's a bit weird, but
yeah, but it's wizards,
yeah, which is weird because every time I read it, I forget that. I think it works out. Bill Weasley is like our age in that book, and it's like, oh, that is wild. Imagine being our age and going back to school and being like, yeah, my little brother's friend's gonna die.
That would be weird.
And he's seen as like the adult of the family after Mr. and Mrs. Weasley, and I'm like, but I'm a child. Like, I can be in charge of things.
We're not real adults, not yet.
Yeah.
No.
So, but yeah, obviously this is the thing that kicks off.
Yeah, this brings old Moldy Wart back, and from this point onwards, shit starts getting real.
Yep.
Not that it wasn't already, but
Ku Klux Klan imagery in Harry Potter, which
they changed that. They changed that for the next one, don't they?
For the better, I think. But there's the moment in the graveyard where obviously his parents come back and the Priory Incantatem.
Yes, I've always found that a bit weird. I don't know why.
It's weird in the books because it's like the last people he killed. But then I don't know why it stops with James and Lily. Like you could argue, it stops with everyone before that because that's when he lost his power.
Yeah.
But clearly, surely he killed people before James and Lily. So why don't hundreds of other people come flooding out of it after James?
It's like, I don't know. It just seems a bit convoluted. Like, why stop at them, but then also have the other people? Like, you can't have.
Well, because they were after James and Lily.
Yeah, I know, but like, why? Yeah. Like you say, why is it stopping at them? You should probably just have Harry's parents, or don't have the others. Seems weird.
I guess maybe they got the choice to come through, whereas the others, everyone else before that was like,
everyone else is sitting there waiting in line, and they're just like, no, sorry, no more. You two though, you can come through.
Yeah, because this builds up the whole like Harry and Voldemort connection. Arc, doesn't it? Which again is like plot convenience after plot convenience. Like, he said in the same one, like Ollivander's like, oh, I sold that one's brother to the person who gave you that scar.
Yeah.
So you know that, and then it's like, oh yeah, they share the same phoenix feather, which came from Dumbledore's phoenix. And it's like, what?
Does it?
Yeah, it comes from Fawkes.
Oh Jesus!
Yeah, and it's like, oh,
I hate J.K. Rowling.
Yeah, and it's like, what are the chances?
Why?
And then it's like,
plus, why do the ones look so completely different if they're basically brothers?
Well, yeah,
they look completely different. And I'm not being funny.
Yeah.
Voldemort's wand is like incredibly evil looking, and like if you're giving that to a student, like you're just setting him up to be evil.
Well, they're made of different wood.
Yeah, I
So
know.
Voldemort's is yew, and then Harry's is holly.
No, I was just saying, like, if you're giving that creepy looking white wand to a kid, like, you're sort of setting them up to be an evil
Yeah.
wizard.
Unless you change it after, I don't know. But
I
yeah,
suppose can you customize ones? Is it like an iPhone? Can you like get different colors?
get different cases, different backgrounds.
They probably would have one cases. That'd be
Probably.
cool.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Malfoy keeps his in his cane, doesn't he?
Oh yeah, true.
So yeah. I think this is like a real turning point in the series. There's a reason most people. I mean, also the fact that there's 8 films. There's a clear halfway point. But this is the real big tone shift. Bang. We're leaving the magical school isn't the focus now. It's like the Wizarding War.
Yeah, this is like
backdrop.
It's strange that it's the 4th movie, but it's not till this point that the main villain actually comes back, and we're 4 films in.
It almost feels like 1, 2, and 3 are like prologues.
Yeah,
and then this is like book 1.
And then obviously 5, 6, 7, and 8 are like one big story.
Yeah, I mean, again, there's the focus on the school, apart from the 7th one as such, but that's more of a setting and backdrop rather than the actual main focus.
Yeah,
I suppose the 5th one actually, because there's a whole like Defense Against the Dark Arts thing. Like there's a real school focus every year, but yeah, it's not like, oh, there's the Quidditch match and the trolls got in and all this. It's like, oh, Harry's gonna go to war and get people killed for his name. Like,
yeah. And I think the whole Voldemort coming back thing is so weird and creepy, but in a good way. Like you got Wormtongue cuts off his own hand, and they're stabbing Harry with a knife, which is
killing Cedric in just cold blood. Like, oof,
poor Cedric.
I know it's always heartbreaking when you read Cedric's book. Like,
when his dad crying when come back, it's like particularly upsetting. I think
it's just like that. Like he is a real like victim of, because also they try and like everyone 6 months be like, oh, Cedric doesn't like Harry, but Cedric's just like, yeah, like look, man,
he's just vibing.
I don't care.
He's just doing what he thinks he needs to do. He's not the one making those funny badges.
Yeah, I do like how by the end of the book, like Harry is seen as an equal to these champions. Like they're all like, oh, don't like each other, and then they are genuinely all of them become friends by the end of it, and like even Fleur and Crumb are like shaking his hand and like, yeah, you're all good, like you're all fine, because of like what he's done. And again, Cedric helps that as well, and he says like, I've tried to stop them wearing the badges and things like this.
Yeah,
and he gives them help with the egg. And I think just Cedric is like too good for the world.
Clearly, they had to take him away. I think one thing that's always bothered me a little bit is how annoyed Ron gets at Harry, because he thinks he's like gone behind his back and put his name in the cup and all that sort of stuff. But like clearly, like after everything you've been through, you're gonna call him a liar. Like,
well, yeah, I don't think it's so much he thinks Harry did it. It's the fact I think he's just frustrated with that Harry is this hero and he's always played second fiddle. May not necessarily be his fault, but I think this is just the one too many that.
But he doesn't believe him. Like,
no,
I just thought like, if your best friend of 3 years, 2.5 years, no, 3.5 years, is saying he didn't do it, and you're like, piss off. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I've spent all summer with him as well.
Yeah,
like,
it's like, come on, Ron.
Yeah.
I mean, it is criminal what they do with Ron in these films. Like they just make him the dumb comic relief.
Oh yeah, they get rid of all of his good moments. But like in the 3rd one, you know where in the film Hermione goes, "If you want Harry, you'll have to kill us too." Like it's Ron who says that with a broken leg and like stands up and like gets in Harry's way.
Yeah, they give all Ron's good bits to Hermione,
and then just leave him with all the dumb bits.
Because Ron in the books is like he's their view to the wizard world, because he's the only one that grew up a wizard. Or grew up in that world, so he's the one who knows about that sort of shit. And Hermione's like the academic one, the smart one. But Ron, that's his sort of thing, and they just take that away and give it to Hermione.
Yeah, but then also he is like loyal to a fault as well. I mean, this book notwithstanding, like again going back to the 3rd one, when Snape's teaching Defense Against the Dark Arts, he calls Hermione a know-it-all, and in the films, Ron goes, "He's got a point." Whereas in the book, Ron goes, "You asked her a question and she answered it," and he like stands up for her.
Yeah.
And it's like,
yeah. Justice for Ron. Poor guy. Yeah. So where does this stand?
He does get to snog Emma Watson by the end of it.
So. Oh well, yeah, that's true. Yeah. Where does this film stand?
Probably third, third or fourth, depending on my mood.
I
Right.
think.
So here's my
Yeah.
overall rankings.
Yeah, go
Right.
on. For one to four.
1 to 4.
Out of the four we've talked about so far,
Oh,
what's your
okay.
ranking?
Oh, yeah, 3, 4, 2, 1.
So just backwards.
What's yours?
Oh no, wait, no, it's not. What am I talking about? I can't count.
Three. Yeah.
3, 4, 2,
Yeah.
1.
Three being the best, one being the worst.
I think I don't know about film quality, but in terms of how much I'd want to watch them, I would say 3, 1, 2, 4. I think I'd
Yeah.
want to watch this one the least. I don't
See,
know
I think
why.
I'm. Oh no. See, I'm going off book thinking. Actually, the more I think about it, that's my book rankings. Film wise, I think 3, 1, 2, 4.
Yeah, it's just this one's fine. It's just it's long and there's a lot to it, and it just seems murky and brown, and I don't know.
And yet it
It's not
feels really
fun.
rushed as well.
Yeah,
Like, it feels like, even though it's, like you say, it's long, it's like they're getting through it really quick because there is so much to get through.
And other than
And
the Yule Ball, is that what's called?
yeah,
Other than that, there isn't really much like fun sort of moments in this.
no,
I
and
don't think.
there's also no scenes set in daytime as far as I'm aware, or like on a sunny day.
Definitely seems that way.
Yeah, and I think that's why I like the third one so much, is because it does give you time for like this film does slow down and give you time just where characters are just being the characters.
Yeah,
Like we said about the sixth one, it's just them at school, like mostly. But there's the scene with Harry and Lupin when they're just talking about the Dementors and things.
yeah,
But it's not like it's just not the way, even the way it's shot is filmed outside in the woods, and it's just like nice peaceful flute music in the background, and it's just like it just gives you a chance to kind of calm down and
yeah,
just know these characters before picking up speed again.
yeah,
With the main plot, whereas this one, it's like you just don't get a chance to sit back and like, even the
yeah.
quieter moments are then filled with like murky, like murder mystery moments and things, and you think, Jesus Christ, like,
Yeah, it's a little much. It's a little
Yeah.
much, especially the hair's also a little much.
yeah, oh yeah, this is what everyone looked like. Everyone coming out of lockdown looked like this film.
This weirdly enough, like when I was in year 6,
with their
all the
haircuts.
boys in my year had hair like this. I don't know why. Well, I did. Like everyone I knew just had long hair, but like not like stylized long hair, just hair that just you could tell they're just grown out.
Yeah, they just refused to cut.
Weird.
Yeah,
Did you know? I think I didn't forgot to mention this in for the third one, but you know obviously how Warwick Davis plays Flitwick, and he wasn't in the third film. I think it was the third one or fourth one, but Alfonso Cuarón wanted him in it, so he's like, "Oh well, I'll have you play the choir conductor, whatever,"
yeah.
and that's why he looks different. But then that character wasn't Flitwick. But then Mike Newell came in and he liked that he was like the look of him and he wanted him back. So he just decided to merge them two characters together, which is why you never see the old man Flitwick again.
Yeah.
Because they just turned him into Flitwick.
Yeah.
Which I think explains it, because I was always like, why did Flitwick just randomly change from an old wrinkly fellow to a guy with like side parting?
I do like the new Flitwick. Like, again, it's that Richard Harris thing of like, I couldn't imagine the old Flitwick doing the stuff young Flitwick does in the later films. Not that he has a lot to do, but
like him running back between those, running down the thing between the whatever they are, the soldier things.
Yeah, and he's more like kooky in the first one. He's like, oh, I've got a squeaky voice. Yeah,
it's like Goblin.
In the other ones, it is just Warwick Davis's voice.
Yeah. It's sad. It's sad we don't get to see more of the classes in these films overall, I think.
Yeah, and like more of the teachers, because in I'm jumping ahead to the seventh one, when the whole Snape like fleeing the castle.
Yeah.
That is like McGonagall's the one who takes the first shot against him, and then the other heads of houses run down and help her. So McGonagall, Flitwick, and Sprout, and Slughorn's there, but he doesn't really do much because he's like, oh, I don't know, I don't want to get involved.
Yeah,
but it's the three of them, and I think it's Flitwick says like, I think Snape blasts McGonagall with something, and Flitwick blocks him. You're like, no, you'll kill no one else in Hogwarts or something like that. And like, I love because you forget that those three are the heads of house. Like,
they don't really mention it, do they, in the films? I don't think at all, other than McGonagall and Snape.
Yeah, and it's not really played on, but they are like key roles in the book. Seriously, you should listen to the books if you get a chance. Like, especially the fourth one. The fourth one has so much more detail in it.
I have read them, but it was so long ago. Like, if I think I was 8, so that was 16 years ago.
Oof.
So yeah, I probably am due for a reread.
Yeah.
But anyway, I suppose that wraps up the first 4. As we said, we're going to split this into 2 halves.
2 lots, because we could talk about this all the live long day, I think. So
yeah, I think if we went to the end, we'd be here for at least an hour, at least.
Definitely.
Yeah. And for the sake of the listeners, I think we'll cut it there.
Yep, sounds good. Well, thank you for listening, everyone. I hope you enjoyed this. Share with us your thoughts on Harry Potter, what you think of the first 4 films at least. And we will be back to cover films 5, 6, 7, and 8, and books 5, 6, 7. I'm sure we'll have loads more to talk about.
We did it. We finally did it.
We finally did it, so you can all leave us alone now. Next week is, I think, because Marvel just announced a new slate of films and titles and dates. So I think we're going to break those down. So we'll go back to the Marvel stuff next week, and then Harry Potter, the ending after that.
The week after.
Yeah. So look forward to your questions.
We're going to be like the money hungry movie studios, and we're going to split this into 2 parts.
Yeah, because we're making so much cash from this.
I don't think it's costing us cash.
Yeah, we're making nothing of this. This is why we ask you to listen, because this is the least you can do.
Come on, and it makes it worth it.
Yeah. So thank you, Lewis, for joining me.
No, thank you, sir.
And thank you all for listening. You can find us on Twitter at @AverageInitPod. Does it say Twitter, didn't I?
You did.
I said Twitter, but in my head I saw the Spotify logo and I panicked then. We're available on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts, on Stitcher, Google Play, wherever you get your podcasts. Follow us on Instagram at The Average Initiative. Find me on any socials at Geo Dursley. That's GEO Dursley.
I'm at Creechmaster on everything. That's CERCERRRC.
It's church, isn't it?
Yeah, I accidentally said the wrong letter and I just ran with it.
You'll find him. I've pegged him and stuff before. Yeah, thank you to Alicia Illustrations for our wonderful logo. We should reach out to her to do some more work, I think.
Yeah, I did think when we were doing Falcon and Winter Soldier, it'd be cool to have like a similar logo, but we were dressed as Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Maybe if we do the Harry Potter once again, we could have done that as a.
Yeah, that'd be good, wouldn't it? I'll be Flitwick. You can be the other Flitwick.
Yeah, 2 Flitwicks. Thank you to 5am Beats for our intro sound and music. A big shout out to him. If you need any beats made, hit him up. He'll happily provide you with stuff. See, that's what it be. Pay your artists. That's always a good thing to do. People need, people pay for your art. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And join us next week where we will discuss the latest Marvel slate. I've hit a bit of a wall, so I'm sorry if this sounds a bit rambly.
It's okay. We've been at this for a while, so
we have. Well, this second recording is 110. It's 1 hour and 10, and that
so this is going to be like a 2-hour episode. Seems like. My lord. Yeah. Thank you for listening, guys.
Thank you very much. We'll see you soon.
See you next week.
Bye.
Bye.